I was heating up leftover chili when my phone buzzed. Group message, just 7 words. We think it's best you take a step back. No context, no call, just a digital shove, and then a thumbs up from Aunt Linda. I froze spoon midair, staring at the screen like it had slapped me. After everything I did every sleepless night, every silent dollar sent, every broken piece I held together, they decided I was excess. That was the moment I understood love in my family came with an invoice. So I made a choice. I stepped back and took every thread that held them together with me. We think it's best you take a step back. That's what the message said. Sent at 7:43 p.m. on a Tuesday. Group chat. Name read family updates. Like we were a company with newsletters and HR memos. Only this time, the memo was about me, and I was being laid off from my own family. I was standing in my tiny Chicago apartment, half dressed for bed, microwaving chili from 3 nights ago. The message popped up right as the microwave beeped. I didn't even react at first. I just stared, read it twice, 3 times. Then I saw the reaction, a thumbs up from Aunt Linda. Of course, it was so clean, so emotionless. Like a button press was all it took to sever me. No call, no context, no one-on-one, not even a stupid emoji that might have hinted at regret. Just take a step back, like I was a problem to be managed, not a person with a pulse. And right then, I felt it, not rage, not sadness, just an eerie cold clarity. I opened the app where I managed our so-called emergency fund, the one that wasn't really a fund, but more like a slow bleed from my bank account. I canceled the automatic contributions. Then I went further. I closed the whole account. I didn't send a follow-up. I didn't rage text. I just replied, understood. I'll respect that, and I'm stepping away from the family fund too. By 3:11 a.m., my phone started buzzing. 12 calls in a row, then 20. By sunrise, 89 missed calls. Dad left a voicemail. His voice cracked and panicked. Sam, what happened? The bank's saying everything is locked. What did you do? Are you okay? We didn't mean I didn't answer. I texted back just one sentence. I'm honoring your decision. That's when it began to sink in for them. And when I finally stopped lying to myself, they didn't just ask me to step back. They tried to quietly erase me without realizing that I was the one holding the whole picture together. You want to know why that message felt like betrayal? Then let me take you back 5 years ago. Haley, my younger sister was hospitalized again, second time in 2 years. My dad had called me from the Walgreens parking lot outside the ER, crying into the phone like a child. They won't admit her, Sammy. We don't have insurance. She's not going to make it if I was 28. Working 80-hour weeks at a mid-size investment firm. Single, exhausted, and already juggling rent in a city that charges you $20 just to breathe. But that night, I wired every last dollar from my savings account to cover Haley's rehab. No one reimbursed me. No one even asked how I was holding up. They called it a miracle when she stabilized, but not once did they say, thank you, not even in passing. They just moved on like that debt, financial and emotional, was invisible. Then came Mom's diabetes diagnosis. Dad's hours got slashed at the warehouse. Haley couldn't keep a job. Every week, someone needed something. Sam, could you float $300 just for the prescriptions? Sam, Haley's car died again. Sam, we're behind on the phone bill. So I did it. I built the fund, set it up in my name. I automated what I could, tracked the rest in spreadsheets. I paid for Mom's insulin, Haley's therapy co-pays, even emergency plumbing after a frozen pipe burst, passwords, account numbers, everything routed through me. Not because they trusted me, no, because they didn't want to deal with it. They called me the responsible one. What they meant was the convenient one. My life became a silent spreadsheet of sacrifice. I downgraded apartments, canceled vacations, ate oatmeal for dinner, more nights than I could count. But I told myself it was worth it. That's what good daughters do, right? Then came the yoga retreat. $3,200, Arizona. Haley texted the family group chat. It's for my mental health. Could the fund cover it? I said nothing. Waited. Dad replied, sounds like something you really need. Let's see what we can do. Mom sent a heart emoji. That's when I knew they didn't just lean on me. They expected to, like I was a living, breathing safety net. The gratitude had died long ago, and in its place, entitlement had moved in and made itself at home. The Zoom call was scheduled for a Sunday evening. Rachel, my cousin, the neutral one, sent the invite. Just a check in, she said. But I knew better. Families don't schedule ambushes with Google Calendar if they actually want resolution. When I logged in, the screen lit up with their faces in neat little boxes like jurors. Dad was pacing. Mom stared off screen lips pressed so tight they'd turned white. Aunt Linda had her signature scarf and pearls like this was a court appearance. Haley, Haley was crying before I even unmuted. Why did you do this to us? She asked, voice trembling. You just disappeared. I took a breath, calm, tired. You mean after I funded your rehab, paid your rent, covered your utilities, and got treated like a villain for saying no to a yoga retreat? She shook her head, hair sticking to her tear-streaked face. That's not fair. Fair, I laughed. For 5 years, I cleaned up your financial disasters like a forensic janitor. And the second I hit pause, you all exiled me from the family chat. That's when Mom finally spoke. Quiet like she was trying to make it sound reasonable. It wasn't exile, we just thought maybe you needed space too. No, I cut in. You just didn't want to hear no, so you found a polite way to shove me out. Dad folded his arms. You didn't have to shut the whole thing down. I leaned forward. That fund was in my name, my money, my management. It wasn't a trust. It was a leash. His face went red. We trusted you. No, I said you used me. And then I did the one thing none of them saw coming. I clicked share screen. The spreadsheet filled the screen row after row of bills, dates, receipts, medical, rent, car repairs, even Haley's retreat, the one I almost paid. What is this? Rachel whispered. Proof, I said, that I wasn't imagining it, that I wasn't exaggerating. I flipped to the final tab, the total, and $1,000. Silence. Dad stepped back like I'd slapped him. Mom gasped. Haley's mouth fell open. You kept tabs, she whispered like it was a crime. No, I said softly. I was surviving you. Haley exploded like a match to gasoline, her face, twisted voice rising until it cracked. You're just bitter. You've always been bitter because no one gives you a gold star for being the good daughter. You want applause for acting like an adult? I didn't flinch. No, I want boundaries, I said, voice level, nay, and I'm done being your unpaid laugh raft. Aunt Linda leaned forward, her voice slick with sugar and venom. That's rich, Samantha. You think money's everything. No, I said, but it was the only thing you ever asked me for. Mom buried her face in her hands, sobbing quietly. Dad's arms were still crossed, but now they trembled. Haley stormed off screen, a door slamming somewhere behind her. I looked into the camera squarely at Dad. The family fund is dissolved. My name's off every joint account. The utilities closed. The credit cards canceled. Insurance. You'll need to re-enroll yourselves. Aunt Linda gasped. You're making a scene. No, I replied. I'm making a decision. I clicked out of the spreadsheet and opened another file, a scanned letter from my lawyer. You'll each be receiving legal paperwork in the coming days. It formalizes my separation from anything tied to the Reed family trust, or what you all pretended was one. You're overreacting. Dad finally snapped. You're cutting off your family. No, I said. I'm protecting myself. Then I added with a clarity I'd never felt before, from now on, I'm not your fallback. I'm not your Band-Aid. I'm not your plan B. I'm free. No one said anything for a beat. Then one by one the boxes disappeared. Aunt Linda left first, then Dad, then Mom. Rachel lingered for half a second, eyes glassy. I didn't know she whispered, I'm sorry. Then she was gone too. I stared at my reflection in the black screen, hand shaking, heart racing, but not out of fear, out of release. For the first time in over a decade, I wasn't holding anyone together but myself. I thought that was the end, but families like mine don't go quietly. 10 days passed, peaceful, eerie. My phone didn't buzz with guilt-laced quick favors. No late-night voicemails from Dad. No cryptic Facebook posts from Haley about letting toxic people go. It was like I'd disappeared. Then came the email. No sender name, just a burner Gmail. Subject line, you've ruined everything. Attached were screenshots, overdue bills, Haley's eviction notice, a shut-off warning from the electric company. One caught my eye instantly: a denied loan application. Business name Haley Grace Recovery Services, LLC, requested amount $80,000. I froze. They'd used my name, my social security number, even the tax ID I had once tied to the family emergency fund. Only one reason it didn't go through: I had closed the account days earlier. The system flagged it as suspicious, triggered a fraud alert. I called the bank immediately. The fraud rep pulled the application file. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. Ma'am, it appears the co-signers listed are Michael and Diane Reed, my parents. The breath left my body. They hadn't just used me, they tried to make me the financial scapegoat for a fake business, a recovery service that never existed. No license, no real paperwork, just forged documents and a signature that almost looked like mine. And suddenly everything clicked. The timing, the message to step back, Haley's sudden need for space, the coordinated silence. It wasn't impulsive, it was a setup. They wanted me out of sight, but still on paper. So when it fell apart, the bank would come after me, not them. That wasn't just betrayal, that was premeditated theft. I spent the weekend filing reports, the bank, the IRS, even the police. I submitted copies of the forged documents, text screenshots, every email. It took hours, but each keystroke felt like breathing again. Then on Sunday night, my phone rang an unknown number. I answered on instinct. Sam, it's me, Haley's voice whispered. I just wanted to say, I get it now. She never mentioned the loan, never admitted the forgery, just cried and rambled about family and healing and second chances. I asked one question: did you know about the business application? Silence. Then the call dropped, and I blocked the number. That was the moment it changed, not them, but me. I stopped flinching when the phone buzzed, stopped checking my accounts 5 times a day, like a sentry guarding a crumbling castle. I started sleeping through the night. Real sleep, the kind that doesn't brace for a crash. I went to dinner with friends and didn't calculate the cost of every glass of wine. I booked a weekend trip alone to Colorado just because the silence of the mountains felt like the opposite of everything I'd just escaped. Then one evening, just as I was settling into the new rhythm of my life, I got a message on LinkedIn. Uncle David, the one who'd vanished years ago, the one Aunt Linda always said was unstable, who refused to help the family when they needed him. His message was simple: saw what you did, heard about the loan. I just wanted you to know you're not the first. My stomach dropped. We talked the next day. 2 hours. He filled in blanks I didn't even know existed. How Mom and Dad had leaned on him 2 years before me. Quiet pressure, emotional guilt, veiled shame. He'd finally walked away after they tried to sign a lease in his name without telling him. They don't know how to love without control, he said. You were never the villain, Sam. You just stopped playing the role they wrote for you. It was like talking to a version of myself 10 years down the road. And I realized something chilling: this wasn't personal. It was generational, a pattern passed down like family recipes, except this one was made of silence, sacrifice, and subtle abuse. People like me were trained to believe love is earned by giving more than we have, that if we're needed, we're safe, that if we stop giving, we'll be erased. But David, he hadn't been erased. He was free. So I followed suit. I moved to Seattle, took a new job, better title, higher salary, zero emotional IOUs, no forwarding address. And then in the quiet of my new apartment furniture, still half assembled, I got a message that stopped me cold from Travis. Yeah, that Travis. Haley's abusive ex. Didn't expect this, it said, but thank you for helping her, even when she didn't deserve it. She needed saving, but not just from me. I didn't need the validation. But something about Travis's message, Haley's ex, the man she ran from in the middle of the night, stirred something deep in my chest. Not pity, not relief, just recognition that I wasn't crazy, that I had been the firewall between everyone's disasters and total collapse, even when no one wanted to say it out loud. And I wasn't the only one. In the months that followed, quiet messages trickled in from distant cousins, old co-workers, even a stranger who read a comment I left on a finance thread. Your story. I think it happened to me too. Turns out there are a lot of us, the ones who always answer the phone, who send the money, who rearrange our lives to cover the chaos behind everyone else's smiles. And when we finally draw a line, we're branded as selfish, bitter, broken. That's how I knew I'd made the right call. It had been almost a year since the group chat message, since the 3:11 a.m. meltdown, since the voicemail from Dad, and the spreadsheet reveal and the silent crash of everything they built on my back. And then just 2 weeks ago, I was walking home from a late meeting, stopping for a croissant at a tiny corner bakery when I saw her. Aunt Linda, scarf, pearls, that same rehearsed expression like she was posing for a courtroom sketch. She spotted me, waved like we were old friends who hadn't caught up in a while. "You look well," she said. "I am." There was a beat. She tilted her head. "Would you ever consider setting something up again? For emergencies?" I laughed. Not bitter, not even angry, just hollow and clean like air let out of a balloon. "I did," I said, smiling. "It's called My Future." And I walked away. Maybe they'll rewrite the story, say I was greedy, unstable, ungrateful. Maybe Haley will turn it into a podcast about toxic siblings. But I don't care, because the truth is simple. I wasn't the villain in their story. I was the one who finally escaped it. And in doing so, I gave myself the one thing they never could: freedom without conditions. Sometimes the most painful kind of love is the one that expects you to break yourself to keep others whole. For years, Samantha was the lifeline of a family that called her the responsible one, but treated her like a silent eight minute. She gave until there was nothing left to give, and when she finally said no, they called it betrayal. But walking away wasn't cruelty, it was survival. She didn't just reclaim her bank account, she reclaimed her voice, her boundaries, her future. And if this story stirred something inside you, a familiar ache, a silent me too, know that you're not alone. There are so many of us carrying invisible burdens, waiting for permission to put them down. This is your permission. You don't need to bleed to prove your loyalty. You don't owe anyone your peace. If this story moved you, inspired you, or helped you see your own story more clearly, please subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment, share your thoughts, your voice matters, and someone out there may need to hear it. Because sometimes the most radical thing we can do is save ourselves first. Subscribe, share, and remember, you are not alone.